I don't want him or her in this house.
Okay, one of you needs to leave.
So I'm going to ask you a lot of questions that happen within the gap in the space where a lot of people may not have talked to one of us before they've got to this point. And the first one is, I don't want him or her in this house. So, what do you say to someone that didn't kind of tackle this prior to filing? And now we have our automatic stay.
Right. I mean, we actually have a case like that right now where husband and wife, husband filed, we represent the wife, and they have 3 kids, and they're both stuck in the house because there isn't enough income. Actually, our client is an attorney, and dad was a stay-at-home dad, and now he's starting to work and back into the job market, and so she's sort of pulling out her hair saying, what do? I can't really leave because my soon-to-be ex-husband can't afford the mortgage, but at the same time, it's not the best situation. So this is how I approach it, and I don't know if you probably do it differently. If there's any allegations of domestic violence, to me, that is like a hard stop. It's like, okay, one of you needs to leave because we do not want that to escalate.
Right.
Especially when there's children involved and then they become part of that whole toxic dynamic. So if there's no allegations of physical abuse, sexual abuse, financial abuse, harassment, then you're pretty much stuck in the house with your spouse. And so right now, I know in this case, he's staying and sort of living on the couch. She has the master bedroom, and then all the children have their own bedroom. So yeah, it's a sticky situation.
Right.
One of the things that I said to her was, let's put the house up on the market because we know that also takes time.
Right.
So I was able to secure a broker for her, and she has to do some things with the house and get it cleaned up, get it to market as soon as possible.
Well, a couple of things to your point, right? Number one, we are in Southern California. So it's not like you can go and get an apartment for $1,200 a month anymore. You're looking at least $2,500. And sometimes what I've heard from clients is that can be more than their mortgage. So a lot of people are sometimes financially forced to remain in the same home. And in terms of selling the property, both parties have to agree to that once the divorce has been filed. And I've seen as a strategy, sometimes someone might say, nope, I don't want to sell it, because that extends the amount of time that they have somewhere to live, sometimes bill free. So of course they don't want to move, because that means that they're going to have to find a place to live and then start financially supporting themselves. So the house sometimes can get very, very sticky. But to your point, I agree. If there is domestic violence, we have to figure something out. And in that case, the court can order someone out of the house, but I've seen that go both ways, right? So if you order someone out and they are the breadwinner and there are no orders for that person to pay the bills, what happens, right? And then you're back in court trying to get orders to make sure they pay the bills. Sometimes by that time, things are 60 days, 90 days late. So it kind of spirals out of control. But there are times when the court can make orders for that party that has been, it's called a kick-out order. They've been kicked out of their residence. But then it makes the divorce sometimes very, very, very difficult to navigate, because that now they are totally upset because they've been kicked out of their residence, paying the bills, and have little resources for themselves. So it gets very, very, very spicy, I like to say.
Yes. I do suggest, though, if you do have a situation with domestic violence, that in the order, especially we can do this in California, to put mortgage payment paid by whoever has been paying the mortgage payment, because you want to make sure, to your point, that when you go back to court, at least those 3 months, have the mortgage paid. And we want to make sure to, as far as the, what's the word for it? We don't want to ruin anyone's credit in this process, because if you ruin someone's credit, then they can't go and rent something. So these are all the things that a good attorney or seasoned attorney is thinking about. And it's not just, okay, let's kick out your spouse, but then what happens? What happens with the mortgage payment and things of that nature?